What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Clint's Hot Props for UFC Atlanta. We are going over UFC Atlanta, and we're talking about my favorite props on the board. As you guys know, we're taking a focus on the ability to hit these right now, right? We're not looking too much at the long shot value props. We had a lot of those last week. Unfortunately, not my best week last week. I mean, we got the Kayla Harrison by sub, but a lot of the other ones I talked about really were not on point last week. So, got to get back on track. Got to hit some of these and get back in the win column. So, let's get into it. Do me a favor and hit the like button, please. Let's talk some props. First up, I want to talk to you guys about Cody Duran by decision. I talked about this on the Total Takedown. I think this fight's going over. I think Cody Duran is desperate to get a victory. He's really gone out there aggressively, life and death, been a fun fighter against some higher level guys in his last couple of fights, and because of that, he's on a bit of a skid right now, right? He needs to get in the win column. He needs to make sure he's got some leverage to be able to negotiate a new contract with the UFC. That means win at all costs. So he's taking on a young, hot gun prospect from Shoot the Box, so he's going to need to mind his P's and Q's. You don't want to slug it out with that kind of a kid. I think he's going to go back to his wrestling, you guys. I really think he's going to look for takedowns, level changes, strike when he has to, but then not take unnecessary damage when he can avoid it. And you've got a pretty juicy number here for the American wrestler at plus 275. I think Cody Duran wins by decision this week and gets back on track. So underdog pick, over pick, and nice prop pick at plus 275. I think there's some decent value there on that number. The next one I want to talk to you about, the next two actually. I know we said we're going to try to hit winners, right? I know we said we're not going to get crazy. We're not going to look for crazy value, but these next two, I just gotta talk about it. Court McGee by submission. He is taking on Michael Chiesa, a man who is very, very suspect to getting submitted. And we just saw Court McGee in his last fight that he's improving in his defensive game. He's improving in his offensive submission game. He's not ever been a finisher in his career. But it's a couple of old guys that are duking it out in the cage, a couple of old guys that are both going to look to grapple. And when Chiesa gets uncomfortable, when Chiesa gets hurt on the feet, the very first thing he does is stick his neck out there. And he's been choked many, many, many times. Court McGee just showed off in his last fight, I believe, at another plus 800 style number that he can sink in a submission. This is another opportunity for him to just go out there and do the same thing. It's probably Chiesa by decision, but I like this plus 800 on Court McGee to go back to back with those subs. Next up, Paul Craig, KO, TKO, or DQ. Like I said, I know we're getting a little crazy here. This thing's like 13-1. It's not open on like FanDuel or DraftKings just yet, so it's probably going to be, 14, 15-1, something like that. Price will be a little bit better. I just like fading this kid from Brazil. I like looking at someone like Paul Craig to go the wrong way here. We've seen Bellato make massive mistakes in the cage. We've seen him be rocked. We've seen him be nearly knocked out on his feet. Yes, he catches a second wind and keeps going, but what we've also seen is when he gets hurt, when he gets tired, he gets into scramble, he gets over aggressive, he'll look for takedowns. Once you get the fight anywhere near Paul Craig on the ground, this guy can do whatever he wants. So if he gets a reversal and he gets on top, you're not getting back up. If you're underneath Paul Craig, the way this guy goes to work with elbows, it's over. It's a wrap. There's no second wind. You'll be unconscious. The ref will have to save you. So it's not like he's going to clip him on the feet and then give him an opportunity to recover. If Paul Craig gets a KO, it's because it's ground and pound. It's because it's on the mat. And at 13, 14, 15-1, it's just a sprinkle. Now, frankly, you guys, I do want to go ahead and make mention of the fact that the real way I think this fight probably ends is Bellato being too young, too big, too strong, and him actually getting the knockout. So minus 150 for Bellato to be the one getting the knockout here. I actually think that makes a ton of sense if you're going to make a larger wager, trying to stack up some chips type of thing. But if you're looking for a Hail Mary, if you're looking for some fun, yeah, just flip the script. Go with the other side and get a much sexier number there. Next up, I want to say Omar Sy by decision. I've kind of bounced around on this one this week. I know I talked about how I want to fade Alonzo Menifield. I think he gets finished. I think Omar Sy can cook this guy the way that my guy Juicebox wasn't quite able to get it done on short notice. However, I'm starting to think back on this, and I keep thinking about how Alonzo Menifield is going to get finished. I keep on talking about how I think Alonzo Menifield is going to get cooked. I keep saying that Alonzo Menifield is a guy that's going to get wiped out. However, it just keeps not happening. And I keep on betting on it to happen, but it keeps not happening. So I need to maybe kind of wake up and smell the roses here and go, you know what? Maybe Alonzo Menifield is good enough these days defensively, good enough these days cardio-wise, that he just isn't going to give it up easy the way that he used to. So you've got Omar Sy, who's a primary grappler, who's going to go out there and push a pace, who's going to try and knock over Alonzo Menifield, find his way to top position. He'll be hunting that submission, sure, but we've seen that Alonzo Menifield's counter grappling is something that's been really solid lately. So maybe it's like a later sub if he's able to cook him, but there also is the chance that Sy just hangs on his way to a decision victory here because he's taking on a guy with no neck that's very, very hard to put away. So pick your poison. You got even money on the sub prop, or you can place plus 225 on the decision. I'm actually kind of leaning a little bit more towards decision as we get a little later in the week. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. It would not be Cody Brundage Fight Week without talking about the best angle in sports today, and that's Cody Brundage, round 1, KO, TKO, or DQ. Literally, his method of victory, his only path to victory, and it's hit 3 times in his last 5 fights. I know that sounds like absolute insanity, but it's true. He's legitimately knocked out 2 people in the first round in 2 of his last 5 fights, and he's gotten a DQ in 1 of 2 fights that were called in his last 5 fights. The other one was a no contest because they were tired of his bull, so they did not give him the DQ, but this thing might have actually hit 4 times, believe it or not. You're getting 16-1 on Cody Brundage. Make sure you're betting it on a site like DraftKings where they've got the DQ involved, because I know from personal experience the number is sexier on FanDuel, but they do not include the DQ as part of the prop. Make sure you get that DQ as part of the prop. Cody Brundage, if he finds a way to get hit in the back of the head again and finds a way to get disqualified, he can cash this at 16-1. The reality is that Mansour Abdul-Malik is actually just going to come out here and put his fist through Cody Brundage's face. So the real method of victory here is Mansour by KO, TKO, or DQ at plus 120 in the first round. How insane is it that that's a round 1 KO, TKO is plus 120? But realistically, that's how this fight's going. It's also the way the next fight I'm going to talk to you about is going. Edmund Shabazian by knockout is plus 120. Now, I will not necessarily go hard on the round 1 only. I would take the KO prop just by itself. It more than likely comes in round 1 because, let's face it, if he's not getting it done in round 1, he doesn't ever really get it done. But there is just that ever so slight chance that maybe he eases off a little bit. Maybe he gets us to round 2 for the first time ever. If you want to play the round 1, that's plus 250 instead. That's probably the way it happens, but crazier things have happened. He could head kick him at the beginning of round 2. We've seen that before. You also want to just take note, just look at the Armen Petrosyan sub props, round 2, round 3, 16-1, 28-1. We have to make mention of those because it's Edmund Shabazian, and every time he gets out of round 1, he gets taken down, he gets tapped out. That's how he fights, every time without fail. I think he's going to go ahead and land the early KO this week, but we need to mention those long shots, and we need to mention the value on those numbers because he has given that up more times than I can count. Next up, I want to talk to you about one I actually really like, and the value is there. Cody Garbrandt by decision at plus 450. The more I think about this fight, the more I line up on the Cody Garbrandt side of things. Yes, I know we have to worry about the chin. That's something I'm always talking about with this guy. However, he is faster, he's got the footwork, he's got the jab, he's got the boxing. He's actually a pretty solid wrestler himself, and this is kind of life-saving territory for him where he needs to bank a win over a guy like Raoni Barcelos. Now, Raoni's a little bit older, Raoni's a little rough around the edges. We have seen him knocked out and finished before, so you can't rule out the Cody, bite down on the mouthpiece, right hand nuclear missile punch. That's happened before. It might happen again. This is the kind of opponent that it would happen against where he's got a massive speed advantage. But if he's in grappling transitions, if he needs to stay safe, if we get in any kind of a back and forth, this fight extends. And if that's the case, I think Cody's going to emphasize self-preservation over most other things, and we could end up going all the way to the judges' scorecards, in which case plus 450 is an excellent number on the guy with the better, cleaner boxing and the speed advantage, who's probably also got heavier hands. So I like Cody Garbrandt by decision this week. And lastly, I want to talk to you guys about Rose Namajunas by decision. It's minus 175. It's not value, it's not nice, it's not sexy, but I really think that's what's going down here on Saturday. we've seen Miranda Maverick flail at the upper level here. I've talked for a long time about how I felt like she is somebody that is just not going to cut it at the UFC level. She's small, she's strong, but the skills are not there. At the higher level, she's going to really struggle against these girls, and that's kind of what's been happening. So if she can't bully you, she's going to lose these close decisions because she doesn't have a second skill set. She doesn't have anything to fall back on. If she can't out wrestle you, she's not able to win minutes in a fight. And Rose Namajunas, while she is naturally a smaller fighter, she's got the height and reach advantage here. She seems to have filled out in her new weight class. She's got a really good get-up game. I mean, you could make a argument for Rose to find something here because she is an elite caliber fighter and she has been around forever. She can head kick people. She can find her way to a sub. Like, there's definitely ways this fight doesn't go the full 15 minutes, but realistically, Rose also is a smart fighter who will do whatever it takes to get the win, and we've seen her in boring fights before simply because she's willing to sit back and do whatever it takes to get her hand raised. So I kind of think it's Rose Namajunas, and I think it's that chalky nasty minus 175 that gets it done. I'll just touch on the main event. I don't really have anything here on this one. Buckley by knockout is probably the most likely thing in my opinion. It's plus 140. I could see that being the case. Kamaru, if he's going to win this fight, it's probably because he just kind of fraud checks Buckley at this level. Not fraud checks, but you know, this is a new ring of competition here for Joaquin Buckley. He is getting a step up in competition. This is a former champion that he's facing here. So if anything goes wrong, Usman by KO is probably the way this thing ends. I do think there's violence in the main event. It's just I kind of lean towards the Buckley side, but I don't like a plus 140 type of number when this is such a massive step up in competition. And Kamaru has looked very durable in his last couple fights. So I'll say Buckley knockout. I don't really love it. That's Clint's Hot Props, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hit that like button on your way out. We'll see you tomorrow for the undefeated post-weigh-in show. Let's roll.